FXO. It is Lowely. And in the top right, his teammate is Strelok. Now, guys, it's game number 3. If you're just tuning in for the first time tonight, this is, or maybe the first time all season, this is week 9. We're at the end of the regular season. Both these players are 1 and 6, so one player will have 2 wins and only one player will have 1. It is for $150, but it's a lot of pride, man. It's who doesn't want to finish last the most, right? Because that's always my thing, man. Whenever you know I do poorly in anything, it's just at least I'm not last. You know, at least there was someone that I outperformed. That's what they're fighting for, Ben.
I'm trying to think if I've ever finished last place in anything.
Well, when it's me and you at the gym, Ben.
Definitely not last place there.
You finished in what 43 minutes last night?
Don't make fun, bro.
I'm not. That's much better. You shaved 11 minutes off your first time. That's insane.
It was not a good feeling.
I felt really terrible too.
I was suffering from cardiac arrest last night at the end of our workout.
No, don't even joke like that, Ben. It was so funny because like after we did the workouts, because we finished at like I don't know like 12:30 in the morning. Ben was he was a zombie. It looked like he literally got bitten by like a zombie, and he was just his brain was starting to decrepify because he wasn't responding to anything I was saying. I was like, Ben, are you okay? And he's like staring off into the ceiling, not blinking. He's like breathing heavy, like. And so I'm like, all right, well, Ben, I guess we should. You want to do some abs? And he's like, no. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just leave, and then I come back. He's trying to do abs. And I'm like, no, Ben, stop. And then so like, all right, let's go home. So we stop at the entrance, and then Ben just sits at the chair, the lounge chair at the entrance. And I'm like, all right, Ben, you want to go home? You're like, no, I want to sit here. I'm like, all right, let's just sit here then. You're like, no, let's just go home. Ben was just uncooperative last night.
Man, it was. I saw the wall yesterday.
You were at your limit.
I was at the wall. I was sitting on the wall. The other side of the wall was.
Did you have a great fall? And I would have brought all my men and tried to put you back together again.
Humpty Dumpty.
Yes. Yes. See, our producer was telling us that we should do more references to 90s and 80s culture.
He said make more references to pop culture, not more references to Mother Goose. Oh, man. SCV Scout kind of checking out the main base of Lowely right now. Sees this gas opening. And what are you going to do with it, Lowely? It's only mining gas with 2 drones. So your guess is as good as mine, Dan. I think it's just going to be for Zergling speed. Daybreak is the ultimate sit-back and macro map, and we've seen Lowely win some really cool games here. He beat Hero on this map, one of the biggest upsets of the season.
Back in Season 3, he also beat like Thorazine on this map. He also played really good ZVT, and that was before everyone was like, Thorazine's kind of struggling. That was when Thorazine was like winning WCS Sweden and everything like that. So it was overall very nice map for a player like Lowely. He doesn't even necessarily go for 3 bases. He goes like 2 base and still does his own game plan, except it's very safe to do it because even if his 2 base thing doesn't work out, his 3rd is relatively unharmed.
Lair is on the way for Lowely again. He's going to stick with this very fast sort of tech style. Surprises me a little bit that he's going to be going back to it here. Strelok is going to be eBay blocking the 3rd base, but little does Strelok know, Lowely goes to the church of don't want to take a 3rd base.
Where they worship their own mules?
Where they don't want to take a 3rd base.
Oh, they don't want to take a 3rd base. That's right. They burn all of it. Mm-hmm. There's and any heretics get immediately sent to the extractor.
They have churches like that where I'm from, back in Georgia, where they
don't believe in making money.
Where they have rattlesnakes that they pass out amongst the congregation. That's
really?
that's actually a real thing.
So those actually exist.
No, there's a snake. It's called a snake wrangling church. It's like a real thing. There was one right up the street from my grandparents' house.
Did you ever touch a rattlesnake?
I have touched a rattlesnake, but not at church.
Well, I would hope not. I really thought that was kind of a joke because I saw it on like Family Guy and stuff.
No, it's a real thing, man. The best jokes have little bits of truth interwoven amongst them. This particular joke is all true.
The full truth, the naked truth,
nothing but the truth. So help you, rattlesnake.
that's kind of unnerving, but I guess that's the kind of church Lowely goes to for no third bases, at least for a while.
He's got that infestation pit down. He will be getting those fast infestors onto the map here shortly, and should start producing units soon. He's oversaturated right now, so he doesn't really need drones at this point in time. I also wonder, it looks to me like Lowely could fit a macro hatch into this build somewhere. If you're going to play Infesterling, shouldn't you just make that macro hatch?
Yeah, I mean, you'll have an excess of minerals because infestors are so heavy. And they do cost a good number of minerals as well, 100 minerals, which people always kind of underestimate. It's not like infestors are just gas only. So it's still kind of up in the air what Lowely intends on doing. Oh, look at that, Ben. Look at that, a macro hatchery.
The Banshee going to come down here and try to harass the main base of Lowely. Strelok has not got Cloak. He was researching it, then he canceled it.
Going for the caduceus reactor fake. It's awesome. And Lowely's going to be like, wow, he's researching Cloak. I better get spores everywhere. Except we all know that Strelok is researching that medevac energy upgrade.
And instead of getting a bunch of spores, Lowely's just going to make an Overseer. So it's going to cover his needs for detection. He really, Dan, really needs to kill this engineering bay and take a third base. It's not...
It's like destructible engineering base. He's like, oh, well, I never knew this was a feature on Daybreak.
It's not in his
Curse you, Justin Browder,
to never take a third base. And he's going to go ahead and do that right now. Strelok knows exactly what's up because of that great eBay. He's been holding this Zelnaga Tower with Hellions all game long, and he's going to see these Lings run out.
Yeah.
I don't know if he saw the infestors, though.
Yeah, I don't know if he saw that either, but either way, he's got a Raven coming out at a very nice time. Usually after 2 Banshees, you can kind of squeeze out the Raven and then go back to Banshee production if you want to keep that non-stop Banshee churning, similar to what MVP would like to do. Strelok now has his third base done, while, I mean, Lowely's still getting up slowly.
Lowely's expanding slowly. Oh, wow. You just blew my mind.
Yep, and he worships his infestors like they're holy.
Maybe he likes guacamole.
No, because he doesn't want to pay the extra money. That wasn't supposed to rhyme. It was just...
Call you butter because you're on a rolly.
This rhyme is just awful. Strelok is also doing a good job controlling the map. And, I mean, normally when Infestorling is out, you can't really move because you're afraid to get fungled. But overall, I think this is really nicely done. Strelok hasn't even really overextended his Banshee. He's just cleaning up the Overlord count. And this Viking has been pretty valuable because Strelok also picked off like 2-3 Overlords before this Viking came out. So vision for Lowely has been extremely restricted.
Yeah, I like this. I like this Viking. It's got 2 kills already. It's forcing Lowely to pull his Overlords back, and he is very much in the dark. Does not know exactly what Strelok's army looks like. Does not know the exact timing on that third base, even though he has seen that third command center. And it's interesting. This game's going to just continue to be very slow and passive. Overlord speed being researched. I would love to see Overlord drop being researched. It's my favorite sort of way to play against a meching Terran.
Yeah, but if you go for it this late, then isn't it kind of delayed? Considering Lowely went on 2 base and he doesn't have.
I'm going to ask you a question. When is it ever bad to have drop?
As a Zerg player?
Just period. When is it ever bad to have the ability to drop?
I don't think ever, really.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't you think it's a little bit too late to drop his opponent, given the state of the game?
No, of course not. In fact, right now is the perfect time to drop. If you drop, look how many stuff's back in Strelok's main base.
He's got a Thor.
He's got a Thor.
Yeah. All those missiles volleying and stuff.
That would not get it done. Now, to be fair, there is a serious threat on Lowely's creep. He's doing a great job of fungling these Hellions to death, but oh, big take shot. Kills a very sad Infestor.
Yeah, that Infestor got pushed out by the rest of the Infestors, too. And some people were talking about reducing the Infestor size, man, like as one alternate, but in that case, multiple Infestors would have died. And, you know, Lowely's doing a pretty decent job trying to avoid confrontation against his armies, pulling his Zerglings again. This is what he's been doing the entire series long, trying to avoid conflict. Just, you know, running by and trying to see if he can get a good engagement, but he's actually pulling back.
He's trying to set up this big. He's trying to set up a big, huge flank. He's going to send roaches and lings from both sides and infested Terrans from all. Oh no, maybe he's going to counterattack. But Blue Flame Hellions are really good against Zerglings. Lowely's got to be so careful. Seriously, he has to preserve these lings. Use the roaches. That's exactly what he's going to do. Strelok's position is not terrible, but Lowely's up at about 180 supply right now, and he's really got a ton of units out. I think we're going to see a giant Terran sandwich in just a little bit.
With lots of meat in between, as the Zerglings and roaches are doubling the way back. I think you're right, Ben. Strelok's going to be able to get a nice position initially, but is he going to be prepared for the rear? And Lowely is now coming in from both sides. Infested Terran is being dropped. Ooh, the Infestor taking a huge amount of hits, as well as scan to make sure they can take everything out.
But the infested Terrans are more than enough, not just to clean this up, but to crush this aggression from Strelok. And just like that, we have a 50 supply swing. Lowely goes up to 170. Strelok down to about 140 or 130. And roaches and lings will continue to kind of dominate the map. Great play there from Lowely. That was a beautiful flank. And we're going to see more aggression. This time he's just going to go for the brute force crash through the front style. Maybe not quite the same level of effectiveness, but he will kill a lot of Terran units here.
Yeah, crash through the front door and let everyone know that you're there. The Bruce Willis style, man. Just completely confronting Strelok's army and trying to take out all of the tanks.
Now there's an action hero I can get behind, Bruce Willis.
What's your favorite Bruce Willis movie?
Man, he's got so many good ones. I like Unbreakable. I also like the Die Hard series.
Die Hard series are by far my favorite.
Pulp Fiction's good.
I never watched Pulp Fiction.
You've missed out on a major.
I have a lot of movies I have yet to see. But I told
history.
you, man, I didn't really watch that many movies in a long time. But that's all changed, man, because I've watched lots of great movies. And I've watched lots of great StarCraft games. Lowely's actually been part of some of those games that have been kind of ridiculous, like Hero versus Lowely early this season. If you guys can recall, Hero rarely lost in NASL prior to this season. In fact, Hero's 5-3 now after losing to Ganzi earlier tonight. That's his 4th loss in NASL. That's right. So before the season started, he only had 1 loss in NASL history. And he lost 3 times this season. Lowely was responsible for one of them. And that's his only win, too, ironically enough. Like, the only win he's gotten.
That is a little bit of irony. Strelok right now is going to be playing very defensively. He's going to sit in the middle of the map, going to take a 4th base. But there is a big problem in Strelok's playstyle right now, Dan. That's his siege tank count. He's got 17 siege tanks. It's basically his whole army. Lowely is about... well, he's a long way away from Broodlords, but when the Broodlords come, or even if Lowely just goes straight to Muta, I don't know how the hell Strelok's going to deal with it. He has nothing on the map, nothing at all, period, that serves as anti-air.
You're right. Well, he's got...
He has a Thor.
He has a Thor, and he's got 2 turrets in his Raven.
And he might be losing that Thor right now as Lowely has found an opening, and he will strike and strike hard. Planetary will get taken out. Tanks and Thor's falling as well. Strelok's going to frantically try to get back to his natural, but this is a great counterattack by Lowely, finding all sorts of openings. Lings will stream down into the 3rd base where they're going to get a lot of SCV kills. Roach is going to crash through the natural where they're going to get a lot of SCV kills. Major damage taken here by Strelok.
Strelok, he did manage to kill off this top left base with the Raven and a couple tanks, but you're right, a lot of damage has been incurred for himself. Lowely's starting to work onto these supply depots and really reducing ability for Strelok to move out comfortably, even if he does gather up and muster an army. I mean, he's got so many open paths to his base that he can't necessarily say for sure, I am going to be okay pushing. And as a result, Strelok has to fall back. That's so unfortunate because I feel like Strelok, his confrontation power with 17 tanks was absolutely absurd.
Lowely's macro is so bad. I mean, I hate to be that openly critical, but he has so much money, and he could have had his Greater Spire completed 6-7 minutes ago. But it's okay. He still does what he lacks in very refined mechanics. He makes up for in really highly refined tactics and decision making. Always taking good fights. And he's utilized that great counterattacking style to punish Strelok a lot here. Strelok is once more going to try and secure this central 4th expansion. Once more, Strelok is going to be rolling with a ton of siege tanks. 18 tanks on the map for Strelok. He is starting to produce some Thors once more. But I feel like it's going to be awfully late getting with that Thor production. And even still, Thors are not the best answer to Broodlords, Dan.
They really aren't, unless they're fully upgraded, and Broodlords don't really have upgrades themselves just because of all the damage you get with each Javelin missile. Strelok now starting to move down the ramp, and Lowely once again circumventing the army, going across the top path. This is what Daybreak is for, because if you go down one path, why not just go down the other?
The funny thing is Strelok could just open with these rocks in the middle and it'd be a lot easier. Infestors are going to catch these siege tanks. That's an unfortunate turn of events for Strelok, and now Lowely could just come in from behind this and clean up the entirety of Strelok's forces. Might not even need to as he continues to stream through the 3rd base. The 4th has been shut down. The 3rd is being ransacked. Strelok down below 30 harvesters right now. Broodlords are being morphed right in front of Strelok's floating orbital command. He knows right now that he's in dire straits.
Wait, he's making Broodlords there, but wait, what? Really? Oh.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I guess he's so confident he can hold up these siege tanks. They really have no answer to all the mass of infestors. Roaches are now working on, and the Broodlords are done morphing here at Strelok's base. He is down to just his last half mining base. Needs to hold on to something, although it's not like Strelok, or it's not like Lowely has that much supply either. He lost a lot of his economy as well, so he has to make this work. But just like you said, Ben, no true form of anti-air. 2 Vikings are on their way, 2 are out. But that's not going to be enough before he suffers a lot of damage.
No, Dan, I think the writing is on the wall here. Strelok down below 100 supply. Lowely nearly max with plenty of bank to...
The way I see like the Infestarian coming out is one of those like cannons that shoot shirts out into the crowd, man. Just like pew, 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 pew. And all the Marines are like, I want to catch one, except it's actually an Infestarian.
MC calls it basketball. Shoo, 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 free throw. That's what MC says.
Oh, man.
GG gets called. Strelok taps out. Lowely wins 2-1. And 3 pretty exciting macro ZVTs there. Lowely showing us still that he has an unorthodox play style, still that he doesn't need to adhere to the exact same stuff that all the other Zergs are doing. He can still win, even if it takes that long.
I think Lowely is great with his infestor control. When he's when the tanks are coming up, he burrows like the first 2 to drop the infested Terrans, and then moves into fungal, like that kind of stuff. A lot of Zergs kind of underrate because they try to focus a little bit too much on the injects, and that was actually Idra's fault for the longest time, right? Like that he would focus too much on the injects, and then he would lose infestors carelessly, and then lose the engagement, and then like when he remaxes, it's not that strong because he has no support. Well,
it's actually kind of a brilliant point that you're making. While mechanics are still very important in StarCraft 2, what is more important in StarCraft 2 than was the case in the Brood War predecessor and the StarCraft 1 predecessor is positioning, decision-making, and engaging. It's all about how you position your army, how you micro those units, and Stefano is a guy that his play is a real testament to that. Stefano has great mechanics, but I think there's other Zerg players out there with better mechanics who do not have the same level of results as Stefano, just because he is such a damn smart tactician. Last game was brought to you guys by Twitch TV, our streaming platform partner. Nothing that you see on an NASL broadcast would have been visible if not for the support of Twitch TV. We're going to take a short break. Our next match will be not on this sheet of paper.
Beastie versus Mana, Terran versus Protoss. It's going to be a great series coming up. Guys, a very important match for both players. Beastie needs to stay in the North American Star League, and Mana wants to fight for that wild cards. We'll find out what happens right after this break.